All right. Now, I wanted to do a lot more for this video right off the bat, but I need more time to really put something together because if y'all don't already know, this is about new class. Okay? Now, there was a supposed survey, and we'll go over all that, which is going to be the main run of the video um, in a moment. But I just wanted to mention, y'all know I've come up with spec ideas. You know, I got support specs. I got fourth spec ideas. I brought all the papers back. And if y'all really want to see those videos again or haven't seen them, I can link them in the description. Just ask. But y'all know I've done a lot of stuff with the classes of WoW because I really like the class and how classes feel, especially after Legion. How each spec does kind of have its own feel too. And now with hero talents, there's so much involved in a new class. And with this survey, it really got me thinking what I would want in a new class. And I was trying to get some ready. Now, I can tell y'all what I had cooked so far, but it's probably stuff you've already heard. And I've wanted to work on some more other things. But I'll tell you what I cooked up, and then we'll get to the survey and we'll talk about that. But, you know, we got the Tinker class. I was thinking it would be cloth. But, you know, most people put it as male. But it could really do anything. It could DPS, heal, tank. It could be range DPS. Maybe you could do a melee version. But I feel like if you're a Tinker, you're shooting from afar, you know. I had my Tinker class using guns, crossbows. It did feel weird to have a Tinker use a bow. But hunters need competition. We all know that. Then I had a rune binder, which was kind of like what I was going for is kind of like a more nature cloth caster, you know, going on. I also had the necromancer, you know, but I also feel like necromancer could be a DK spec at some point, you know. Then I came up with a dragoon. I didn't get to make armor for that, which would be like I wanted an agility plate lancer and maybe use magical lances, you know. Well, there's some like that in this what we're gonna see. A lot of people have had these similar ideas. I'm not unique in these. That's why I want more time to cook. And then a void knight. I was trying to get void knight transmog, but I don't got none of the good pieces. But yeah, a void knight, a shadow knight. My stepdad has always wanted a shadow knight because he came from EverQuest. You know, we kind of got DKs, but we don't have a void plateware, and we kind of do see them in game in some places. So that was something to look into. But because I had all these other specs and all this, I really wanted to work on it. Didn't have time, but I do have time to talk about this survey. All right. And apparently I have 2 WoWs open. Alright, well, let's get to the survey that came out. Now, we don't know how legitimate this is. A lot of people have already talked about this. Portagage was where I saw it on Twitter over here. But then we are going to pull up the MMO champion thread. And I can link that. I can link the MMO champion thread if y'all want. I'll link this for sure because this is what I'm reading. Now, this could just be bullshit, right? Like, this could 100% not be legitimate, but I think this is interesting to think about, and I want to see, because if there is any truth to this, I think whatever these classes are, especially with how a lot of them sound, it would be, we don't get a new class until the Last Titan. None of these sound midnighty. Even though we technically would be scheduled for a new class in Midnight, according to the old schedule. But let's get into this. So, this is going to be where the juice is. But we'll read it here. So, they translated this, apparently. When you choose which class you want to play WoW, which of the following information sources choose following factors? Okay, answering the concept of a tinker class. Now, a lot of this is goofed up because they're going to actually talk about the other class. Does this have all the classes right here? Okay, so this is all the classes. So let's go over these classes they had or came up with. Like, this could just be someone cooking. This could be legit a survey that went out. Or, yeah, I mean, it's either legit or someone's cooking over here. So, apothecary. This is one we've seen in the community here. You can, well, it's actually the old site. WoW Wiki, the old site, had a class ideas thread, right? If y'all didn't know. Now, this is the old one, but it had class theories, right? Look at all the very similar stuff. You know, not many people coming up with a new class here, but we got... you'll notice some similar stuff here. That's the old site. Even this one had one. I think it's just basically the same stuff. Yeah. Necromancer, Mountain King, Titanborn. Yeah, all this stuff. You know, so... But let's get into this. Apothecary. Masters in creation of potions and brews, which they use to harm enemies and empower and heal allies. They create unique combination of elements. Do give potions varying effects, be it explosive, toxic, or granting extreme power. Now, here's the thing. Some of these basically say what role you feel, and then other ones are vague. You know, which does depend on how they do it. But, so apothecary, what do you think if you get an apothecary? It'd be a clothy. It'd be a clothy, you know, of course, throwing potions, throwing brews. Monks already do some brew stuff, but they just drink it themselves. They don't throw it, really. So imagine a full class of that. One of my interesting thoughts, right, when it comes to apothecary and a tinkerer class, right, is say you're a tinkerer, right, but you're not an engineer. It just feel weird, right? Because technically you'd be able to be that, right? You'd be like, I'm a tinker class. I do this. But imagine if the class locked you into a profession. Right? Like, that would be interesting. Like, rogues got professions back in the day, right? Imagine if a class locked you into a profession, right? So say you make an apothecary, right? And you're just like, boop, alchemy herbalist. Automatically. Like, cannot change. It plays with your class effect. Imagine how that would go down. That'd be interesting. Do I think it would work? I don't know. I feel like there's problems to that. But then, like I said, for RPG's sake, if you're an apothecary and not an alchemist, it's like I'm an apothecary. Now let me skin that. Like, you know, yeah, I guess you're an alchemist and a tailor, I guess. Tailor disenchanter, because you're a clothy. So you're like, I make my outfit and I make potions. Like, you just double profession, basically. So, very interesting. Alchemists could easily be... I could see them be DPS easy. Throw potions, explosives, poisons on enemies. They could be a healer. You know, they could be a support. Alright, but here, 4th spec Bobby right here. Let's give it a 4th spec. Tank. Drink some juice. Go Jekyll mode. Or Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Go Mr. Hyde mode. Go. I'm a tank. Ooh. That'd be an interesting way to have a cloth tank go Hulk with apothecary. But that would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what y'all think about apothecary. Not my top choice. That's what I'll say. But could be interesting. Astrologian. Astrologian. Now this is like a Final Fantasy sounding one. So, mighty spellcasters that use the cosmic powers of the stars and gravity to deal devastating damage. They utilize celestial energies to cast spells, manipulate gravitational fields, summon meteor swarms, and create star explosions. Now, I like this a lot, but because of how WoW is, it's hard to separate this from a mage. Because mages summon meteor swarms. They don't really do star explosions, but they do meteor swarms. They got cosmic comet storm. They got the big meteor. They don't do gravity stuff. I think the gravity and star stuff is cool, but it's hard to see where Astrologian begins and mage ends, and how they separate in the WoW universe, that is, because we haven't really seen that. Like, if you think of the astromancers, right, of the Nightwell, they're just like super mages. They're like, this could be a hero talent for mage for across the board. Maybe you're like, I'm fire and I want to go into the more cosmic fire. Then you start doing star stuff, right? Then you're a mage, you start dropping more cosmic ice, meteor, or comets and stuff like that. Maybe even gravity for frost. But then as arcane, yeah, you're going full gravity and stuff like that. I think that would be cool. Something like that. But I don't know about as a full class. I don't know. But some people really like this too, so... Because I really like the idea of this, and I would love to play it. I would love to play all of these classes. Any of these classes, and WoW legit adds them, I'm down. I'm down. But, alright. But let's move over to Bard. See, and this is one of the ones that say roles. Supporter, healer, and tanks. Tank Bards feels interesting to me. I would have not put that for a Bard. If y'all remember, I made Bard a rogue support spec. I think Bard should be a spec for rogue. I think combo points and musical notes could... you could switch to a spec in rogue, and then your combo points switch to musical notes, and you support. I think that's where I'd put it. But let's see. Support, healer, and tank. I'm surprised not DPS. That utilizes the Song of Azeroth to cast mighty spells, support their allies. So they're using like the Radiant Song. Again, this does seem to have like Last Titan. Support their allies and weaken their enemies. Alright, bards shine in a group, empowering and improving the spells of others, and at the same time bringing numerous song and auras to help their group reach new height. Now, it's interesting that they don't have armor classification, because ideally, if we get a new class, so leather's full. Leather's got 4. Cloth has 3. Mail has 3. Plate has 3. So ideally, whatever the new class would be, it's either a clothy, a mail wearer, or a plate wearer. We'll have to see. Cloth hasn't gotten a new class. FYI. I think we're due for a cloth class, and that's why I put my Tinker as a cloth, because imagine a cloth set that uses pants. Not robes, pants. Imagine a cloth tier set that uses pants consistently, like across the board. Like Tinkers would be like, nah, we don't wear a robe. We wear pants and a shirt, and we do our Tinkers. I think that'd be cool. But that's... oh my god, I'm jumping ahead. So, Bards and WoW. I just see it as a support spec to Rogue, personally. Could they have a whole class? Yes, but then they would probably fall into one of the classes that only has their own weapons. Like, they have a musical instrument for combat, or do they have a normal weapon for combat and then a musical instrument's kind of a side thing? That's why I liked it for Rogue. You could just have, they use like daggers and shit, but then they have their musical instrument for the songs, but then when they're fighting, they're like, I may be a singer, but you come at me, you know? But it's interesting. The Song of Azeroth is interesting. Like, maybe it's using the Radiant song, and we got bards now blasting jams that can power us up. But I mainly see them as a support or a healer. Seeing them as a tank is interesting. Also, damage, I guess, would be weird too, but it's very interesting. Not my top pick, but I know a lot of people do, and I know a lot of people that can flesh out a bard class in WoW, so just because I can't doesn't mean it can't be. Then we got Witch. Damage dealers. Because remember, each of these would have to then have 3 specs and 3 hero talents. Alright, so then we got Witch. Damage dealers and healers. So just another caster, it looks like. They use old magic to reach towards darker natural powers. The magic includes curses, familiars, rituals, spirits, connections, poisons, decay, and more. I do think we could have a decay witch magic type class fleshed out. You know, it's not fel magic. You're not a shaman, even though they're in lore, witches and shamans are kind of like cross-pollinating there, but we don't have a dark shaman class, so this could be like that dark shaman, like a witch doctor. This class builds onto the teachings of witches and dark magicians of WoW, including the witches of Dressfar, the Ganillion Harvest witches, which are druids. These are druids. The decay gnolls and troll hexes and spirit magic. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting. But yeah, damage dealers, healers. They would just be a caster. You could probably maybe flesh out 2 types of damage dealer. One with minions and ghosts, like ghost minions. And then one with curses, dots. You know, it'd be like a warlock, but with the healing spec. You know, so that could work. I'd be down. I'd play it. Not my first pick. Next up, Celestial Lancers. So this is kind of like that Dragoon idea, okay, in a way. Warrior that uses spears and Titan magic that are powered by the gods for quick jumps and strikes. So Celestial Lancer would kind of be like a DPS that wields a lance. You have a melee mode, I'd imagine, and they're using magic, so they pick Titan magic. I was picking more draconic magic for mine, which is why I went with like a dragoon. But Titan magics to do the jumps, the spears, all that stuff. And then what I thought would be cool for them is you have a tank version where you use a 2-handed spear and a shield. So I think that would be cool, 2-hander and a shield. And then you have a melee DPS where you're using the spear up close, and then you have a pure range DPS where you're throwing magical spears. So I think that would be cool. I think a Lancer class would work. If it's called Celestial's Lancer and it uses Titan magic, I think it could work. If it uses Draconic magic, which is a little tiny, but they got extra juice now, I think that would be cool. Would fit in a Last Titan theme. I'm down. All of these so far would fit in a Last Titan because they're pretty neutral. But we're gonna start to see more that fit in the Last Titan theme. So then we got Battle Mage. I don't like the idea of Battle Mages. I put Spellblade and stuff as a mage spec. I think seeing a mage, a cloth in melee would be cool. But I don't see it as a full thing. I don't see it as a full extra class, but let's read their Battle Mage. Or the League Battle Mage. And that's my opinion. Some people I think a Battle Mage idea is cool. I don't know if it's a full class. Battle mages empower their weapons with the might of the elements to aid their allies, weaken foes, and create constructs to control the battlefield. So maybe a minion mage with... So you'd have a Spellblade spec, a support spec, and then a tank spec? I mean, that could be cool. So they do a full Spellblade class where they have a melee mage that's just full battle mage, okay? Then they maybe have a heal, but that feels more like a support. I do think I would like to see more support. So that could be interesting, where it's the same concept, melee mage, but then you're just buffing. And then you got, and this, if this was a healer, it'd play like a monk. And then you got tank with a construct. Y'all know my support mage here. What was my support mage? Chronomancer, and then my healing mage was Chronomancer. I think mages need to dabble into time magic. Or no, I put Spellblade here. So either if we're gonna get a new mage spec, it would be time magic healer or melee battle mage. Could battle mage be fleshed out to a whole class? It could. I wouldn't want to call it battle mage, because then it'd be like, looking for battle mage, looking for normal mage. Like, what? What are we doing here? Why? Why are we like this? It'd have to be called something else. Maybe Spellblade. Maybe they could do a Spellblade. I want to see two different kinds of DPS, though. Not just melee and... I would love to see 2 DPS for Spellblade and maybe tank. Maybe using a pet, but I'm thinking more of like barrier magic. I think would be cool. Okay. Next up, Artificer. Melee-based tanks, damage dealer, healer that uses a mix of handmade machines and Titan technology. So this is kind of like a tinker. Mechanic, reactive gear is the foundation of their power, while utilizing new weapon types like extendable flares or reactive shields. This class is the front line of battle and protects and supports their team with inventions. So this could be like one style of tinker. Alright. Tank, damage dealer, healer. Yeah, it's basically one kind of tinker. We'll read the other one, but yeah, I think we could use a tinker-like class. This, from what it sounds like, this one is just a tank with like, this one would probably wear like mail or plate, and you're using gears and machines as flails and shields, it looks like. And then damage dealers, it doesn't really say what kind of damage dealer they would be, but right here it sounds like they would be a support damage dealer. And then they would also have a healer. So that could work. That'd be one way to do a tinker. Not my favorite way, and I think they have the cool way to do it down here. But let's get to Ley Weaver. Ley Weavers are connected via ley lines to natural powers of Azeroth. Their connection to these arcane power lines allows them to move quickly along them and to manipulate the unseen energies that flow through everything. They help allies deal damage to enemies or buff and debuff as wanted. So it's just a mage. It's just a mage. This is just a mage. I'm sorry, this is just a mage. I'm like... Or is it a nature mage? Because it's using arcane, or it's using the Titan energy. Like, it's just a different mage. Alright. Gunner. Quick. Offensive range. Warlocks are not different mages. Warlocks feel differently. Just FYI. Quick. Gunner. Quick. Offensive range combat character that wields 2 pistols at a time. I do like the 2 pistol idea coming to the game. I don't... They apply different elemental effects to their weapons and create the deadliest arsenal of destruction against their foes. So it's like a hunter with no pet. Honestly, if we're gonna do gunner stuff, I feel like, and I've talked about this in my video, if we're gonna do gunner stuff, it should be from existing classes. So rogues can be a gunslinger. Warriors can be a gunslinger. I even have demon hunters be gunslingers. Okay, so I don't see. We could have a new gunner class, Hunters Need competition, and it would just be purely weapons, no survival. Marksman would kind of get. Here's the thing: Marksman kind of has that feel, by the way. So it'd be another 3 DPS hunter spec, but no pets. Personally, these two kind of meh. Alright? Okay, and then we got Gunslinger here. Cunning, agile, melee combatant that uses 2 pistols and 1 star sharp allies. See. Okay. Rogue spec. This is a rogue spec. This is a rogue spec, not a whole class. Alright? There you go. Prismatic. As heirs to titanic power, prismatics are carriers of cosmic power that can not only be used in their purest forms, but their transcending powers can be merged to new powers. They refine and focus the power of life to heal allies, or the powers of orders to protect themselves, or they merge the combined powers of death and shadow to deal damage to enemies. So this is like heir to the titanic power. So this is like, so imagine I have a character that's kind of like this. So it's like a mage ascending, right? So you're like, I use arcane, I use titan magic, but there's more out there. There's the cosmic power. So boom, I'm pulling from life, and I'm gonna be a healer. So they'd be like, I'm imagining them being a cloth, them being in healer mode, using, I'd imagine, order magic to shield, life magic to heal. Then they fully switch to their tank mode, it looks like, using Titan power. It doesn't seem they're using Fel. I feel like they should use Fel too. They got, what? I feel like there's another force. They're not using light. They could also, okay, so there you go. Healing. Life and light. Tanking. Order and death. DPS, shadow, and Fel. Boom. The cosmic mage, I think, could work. I think a cosmic mage could work because it's not just a mage using Fire, Frost, Arcane, right? It's a mage that went, I see the elements of our universe, and I know their origin, and I'm pulling from that to use the power. I think that could be cool. I think a prismatic could be cool. But yeah, they need to add, whoever's doing this, if it's Blizzard, Death and Order tank, Shadow Fel, Life Light for heals. Alright? Gunslinger is what is the difference? What is the difference between these two? Please tell me. And this should just be a rogue spec. Titan Killers. Titan Killers combine the sword fragments of Tashalak and Gorobal. So, the Titans would have to be back. Then we go get Tashalak, or we grabbed it. And, okay, so someone got the drop from Agrimar and took a piece of Sargeras' sword, slapped them together. Alright. To use the powers of Gorshalak and connect to the cosmic powers of the Titans to destroy any threat to Azeroth. So, it's just like a dude with a sword running around. Do they get a special sword, or do they just use two-handers and do DPS? So it's like a Death Knight, but uses Order Magic and Fell? That could be cool. Okay, a Death Knight that uses Fell and Order Magic could look legit. But then we just have probably 2 DPS and a tank. Or 1 DPS and a tank. It's something. It's something. There's something's that cooking there, maybe. Necromancer. This is a good one. I think it could be a spec of DK. I also think you could flesh this out as a whole class without infringing on DK too much. Alright, they'd probably be cloth, summon an army of dead to follow your commands and overrun your enemies in combat. They combine different summoning spells to build the perfect army. Now, I want Necromancer in the game. I personally want it as just a new spec for DK at this point. Just a full new spec, plate ranged minion spec would be cool to me. But if they did a whole class, I'd be down. They just basically do the Warlock Demon Hunter split, but for DK. Maybe pull back on some of DK's minions. Put it in a Necromancer. I think it'd be legit. I'm down. But, and I'm going to be real. Tinker is actually my number one. I feel like Tinker is the best class to add because it is so fleshed out and can fit with the classes that we have already, can fit getting us specs and then hero talents on top of that. I feel like it could just flesh it out fully, super good. Tinker, genius inventors who have uncovered the secrets of Titan technology. I do hope they make them cloth now instead of mail. Genius inventors who have uncovered the secrets of Titan technology and using it to protect their allies, heal wounds, and attack enemies. Through the understanding of machines, Tinkers can create inventions, custom-made skilled spells. Interesting. Control mech suits, deploy mechanical constructs to create an advantage in combat. So now, my current cool design of Tinker would be a cloth wearer, like I said, with pants, shirt. That's what their tier looks like. No robes. I mean, you can't transmog robes if you want to be a Tinker with a robe, but I would have designed their tier to be a cloth set that uses pants and a shirt. So, they're wearing cloth. Alright. Healers. Med packs. Armoring up. You can have them be a support. They're just given armor, like a Torbjorn, putting up turrets, doing a little DPS. Full support like that. They can have ranged DPS where you're using a gun and turrets and you're blasting. You can have a healing spec where you're, like I said, you're a medic, you're shooting injections. Think of Anna from Overwatch, just maybe a sleep dart CC. Got so much to work with there. And then as a tank, mech suit. Cloth wearer, tank, mech suit. I may be squishy, but my mech suit ain't. And you just blasting. And I think a cool way... So, the Tinker tank would always have a cheat death. It's when their suit blows up and they eject. They have like a disengage with their cheat death. And then they're just like... Bing, 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 and then trying to get away. And they can try to kite the mob or... maybe getting back in your mech suit has a small cooldown when you're out of combat, but when you're in combat, it's hard to get back in, something like that. I think that'd be cool. So basically take all of Overwatch spells and you can put them into one class, and you have so many ways to just give skills and all that kind of stuff. I think it'd be cool. And like I said, I do think there is an interesting thing where it's like, do we make them engineers or they can just do whatever? Be interesting. Maybe give them a bonus from engineering things. But I think if it's cloth, then it works fine. They can do whatever they want. They're genius. They can do whatever they want. They're versatile. Alright, so I think Tinker's the best. This is my favorite. I think Tinker needs to be added in the game. I think it fits in the Last Titan. I think it can fit in Midnight. Next up, Warden. Versatile, armored hunters who work with their arc of chakrams and traps, devastating ranged and melee attacks employ. So it'd be a mail wearer using so I'm thinking they're pulling the Warden from actual WoW. So petless hunter, I think could work. So they'd be range, use warglaives, use traps. Just a range. They have a range DPS spec and a melee DPS spec. You could also see him tank. It could work. They could flesh it out. I think they could flesh out a warding class, now that I think about it. Using warglaives, traps. You can have, like I said, the range one where you're throwing it. And then melee, and then a tank version. So, I think that could work. Then we got Spellbreaker. Melee characters that specialize in combat against magical powers. They ward magic, but they also empower their gear with the magic of enemies to improve their combat capabilities. Now, we see Spellbreakers in Silvermoon. I think, as a full class, I don't see it. I feel like some of the aspects of Spellbreaker have been rolled into Warrior. I can see Spellbreaker be a cool Warrior hero talent spec. I don't see it as a full class. Alright? And that's basically it. Okay, so that's basically it. My favorite, Tinker. My next favorite is Celestial Lancer, because those are kind of ones I pick. Prismatic seems cool. Witch seems cool. The other Apothecary could work. Necromancer, you know. Some of these other ones, y'all know the ones, either just repeats at some point, or may not have enough juice to them. Or in my opinion, can just be a extra spec. But yeah, this was cool. I am going to work on some more class stuff. Next lore rant, next Sunday, should be about the new quest that's dropping. So that will be cool. And I'll work on my classes. I want to come up with some cool classes. But anyways, thank y'all for watching as always, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.